Hello and welcome to Your New Jersey. I'm Lisa Marie Falbo. On today's show, we'll hear from Tiffany Marie DeSousa, founder of the CLCL Foundation, whose powerful personal journey has fueled a mission to provide housing and mental health support for youth in crisis in Ocean and Monmouth counties. But first, we're joined by Daniel Dermer, co-founder of Dermer Dreams, whose 100-yard food drive challenge empowers students to collect food for families in need across the entire state of New Jersey. Daniel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Anytime I get to dress in my Dermer Dreams yellow and talk about how the students are impacting hunger in New Jersey, I get so excited. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
We love the yellow. You just pop the studio. I love it.
We always come in our yellow uniforms. That's how you get us.
What does the yellow signify?
It really is just from the beginning of time we had to pick one color. And from the day that we started back after Superstorm Sandy in New Jersey, yellow has been it. So this is what represents Dermer Dreams.
I love it. Well, start from the beginning, all the way back, I guess, in 2012 after Superstorm Sandy, where you had this great idea.
Yeah, so the storm hit. I was living down in Seabright, New Jersey with my wife Elise, who is the co-founder of Dermer Dreams, along with our young children. We had a 4-year-old, my daughter Raina. My son Brendan was 2 at the time, and we basically got thrown out of our house for 6 months. The entire house got flooded, and we decided to just move around to stay with people in different places, moving all over different states for a few months. And what we saw was that people were stuck in the shelters, and they just had no food. They couldn't even get food to them because of what happened with the storm. My background is I'm a property manager. I own a small property management company in New York called Dermer Management, and I had access to thousands of residential apartments. So back in 2012, I designed this very ugly white Dermer Dreams donation bag. I put it on thousands of apartment doors, and we asked the residents of the Dermer managed buildings to please place their bag in the lobby. We would pick them up in trucks and bring the food to the shelters. The program took off where you couldn't believe what the residents did. They filled the lobbies. I still have the photographs of the bags filling up the entire lobbies. We brought so much food to food banks during the time, and it was so successful, we kept the project going in New York after that for the next 5 years. After that, the pandemic hit in New York, and we were forced out and we moved into New Jersey.
Yeah, we've just had quite a decade and a half, right? It's
Yes.
been brutal. And by the way, I have a 4 and a 2-year-old, so I can't even imagine what you were going through back in 2012, displaced from your home.
Yeah.
And that you were still thinking of others, though.
Yeah, that's the way we all have to be, especially Jersey people. You know, you live in this state and you believe, I think it's all about helping each other, you know. So in moments like that, when you see people at the worst, you know, we had the ability to help, you know. It didn't take too much effort, and we threw it together, and it was really an exciting time, and it was the start of Dermer Dreams. So more importantly, what it's led to 10 years later now.
So where are you today?
Our mission is simple. You know, we moved to New Jersey, and after I did the food drives in New York, we did a town-wide food drive in the town that I moved in Fairhaven. We got such incredible support from the mayor, the fire department, all the residents, and we launched a program where all the students gave out a bag to every single home in town. We collected the food, but even doing that, it was so incredible. There was always something bigger for me that I was searching for in this. That I had done food drives for many years, and I find them to be fantastic, but I really wanted something on a bigger scale to really help people. And what happened is, after we did the first year, we were meeting with some people in brainstorming sessions, and somebody said, why don't we launch the Neighborhood Captain Program? So from this, the Dermer Dreams Neighborhood Captain Program was launched. And our mission is simple. We are working to sign on as many students in the state of New Jersey to join us in the fight against hunger. Our success over many years now has been strictly due to the drive, energy, and ingenuity of young teenagers, middle schoolers, high schoolers who sign up for the Dermer Dreams Neighborhood Captain Program, and they basically perform the program and earn their community service hours. What's happening in high schools now is I go around and meet with high schools and present all across the state. And in the old days, students had to be getting hours when they joined an honor society or maybe a club. What's happened now is there's so many principals that understand across New Jersey that they want all the students to get hours. So what we've done in a very fragmented industry of where they go to find their community service hours, we believe Dermer Dreams is their solution. So the Neighborhood Captain Program is so cool. You go on our website. We have drop sites across the entire state. Our main drop sites are down in Rumson, Fairhaven. This year I'll talk about it's going to be at the football field. We have a major drop site in Howell, New Jersey. There's one down south in Egg Harbor. There's another one in Montclair at Tony's Kitchen. And we are expanding across the state as we continue to go. The program is the students in high school receive 100 of our yellow Dermer Dreams donation bags with flyers that they write their name and put a flyer inside of each one of the bags, and it explains the person who gets it that the food items that they could place inside the bag for the student. They use their creativity, their connections, and they basically go out and create their own little plan of action. We ask them basically to create a business plan. We give them ideas. So for example, some of the hot topics these days are they're running Venmo campaigns where they basically go out with their family members and request $10 from everybody that they know in the world. And they go shopping to fill a portion of their bags. Next, they'll give bags to their parents to bring to their workplaces to fill. They give them to their teammates to fill. And all of these ideas end up becoming the student's individual business plan, in which their job is to fill as many of the bags as possible. And when they bring them to our drop site, back in November, we had 500 students that distributed 50,000 donation bags across the state. Wow. So just picture 500 students showing up at a parking lot with their parents, bringing 50, 70, 100 bags of food and coming in with their parents, and we take them off the back of their car and place them directly on to a food bank truck. And that is what the Neighborhood Captain program is. When they're done, they receive their certificate, a digital certificate for their community service hours, which they use for their honor societies and everything that they need. And they get what they need, and we're feeding people that need food out there.
Wins across the board.
Wins across the board, and just love working with the students. And sometimes these guys get a bad rap this generation, but I can tell you, if you visit our event, you would be blown away by what you see, what these students accomplish. We set out a goal when we started, and we had a goal of raising 1 million pounds of food. We are now at 873,000 pounds, and we're hoping this year, in 2025, we're going to surpass that goal of 1 million pounds. And that leads me into the 100-yard food drive challenge.
You're taking all my questions. You're so good at this.
I'm so excited.
Oh, I can tell. It's palpable.
I just love it. I can't get enough of it.
I need to get you in my high school.
Well, we're ready to expand all over the place, and we're hoping that this is really going to show everybody.
How do people get you in their school?
So basically what's happening now is that you can go on our website and you can write neighborhood captain at dermerdreams.org. Our team will take your request, and we are working to present to as many high schools across New Jersey and expanding. I'm open to everything. Anybody who knows me, if you want to have a bag of food and want me to come pick it up at 4 o'clock in the morning at your house, I don't care where you live in the whole country, I'll come and I'll get it. And when I get that bag of food and I give it to somebody who doesn't have enough to eat, it's just amazing,
What's also amazing to me is that food insecurity is not going away. It is no longer just a pandemic issue.
Not at all.
It has transcended those times. Why do you think that is?
Well, if you see the cost of what it is for people, regular everyday people, these aren't people that don't want to get up and go to work every day. They work hard, and just because of the way the costs have become economically for people to survive this, what you're seeing at food banks now is that it's people that are hardworking people. This is not that you're just being lazy and you don't have food. And basically we're seeing down by us now in Red Bank, I know that Vin Gopal has put out recent numbers showing that the food bank in Red Bank has increased by 30% alone just in the past year. So could you just imagine, you're sitting at home and never have to worry possibly about ever finding food, and just think about over 1 million people, in the entire state actually not getting enough food to eat. The thing that punches me in the face is the staggering number of 300,000 children that go to bed every single night and don't have enough food to eat. What happens with me is, for years I've stood at these food drives, and we start at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. We end normally about 6, 7 o'clock at night. And what happens is I stand there. We have everybody dressed in yellow. We have about 50 volunteer students, very set up, organized drop site, which really is cool with signage and balloons and all these things. My day starts, and normally someone will pull up a car on the side, and they'll come up to me and say, "Sir, is there any way that I could take some food home to my kids?" And I turn to our team and I ask them to please bring some food to the car. And then we all go back to work. We're running our drop sites, and about 10 minutes later, my staff will come over and say, Dan, there's somebody here who wants to ask you a question. I say, oh, are they a parent? Are they a student? No, it's something else. I walk over and it's a woman asking me, sir, is it possible that I could take some food home to my daughters? They don't have anything to eat. So could you imagine, just imagine being that child, of one of 300,000 to possibly go home at night. And they open their refrigerator and there's a piece of white bread in there and their mother leaves a note, basically saying, make sure to share this with your brother. So for me, this is what it's all about. We can't have a state having children going to bed hungry every night.
Absolutely
and we got to
not.
make some change.
Now the moment we've all been waiting for. We want
is
to
it.
know all about what is the 100-yard food drive challenge.
Okay, this is our biggest challenge for the students to date. It's simple, but it's powerful. Okay, every inch of the 100-yard Rumson Fairhaven football field will be filled by the students from Dermer Dreams. Imagine 50 to 60,000 yellow Dermer Dreams donation bags spread across the entire field. And my hope is that people across New Jersey and maybe farther than New Jersey can see this as a real beacon of hope, is to see that entire field filled by students and to recognize the magnitude of what the problem is and to also recognize that we need to step up our game to help people that are out there not getting enough food to eat.
I love that. I think anybody watching this, no matter where they live in the state, this also reaches New York, Connecticut, right? They're going to come and drive to
I hope
Rumson
so.
Fairhaven High School.
Everybody
to
should
participate.
understand that you can select the other drop sites. Howell has become crazy off the charts, their drop site, what they did last year. But if you want to come to be a part of the 100-yard food drive challenge, please sign up in Rumson Fairhaven. Drive down for 40 minutes or an hour possibly to bring your food down and actually place it on the food with me. You'll see me standing there the entire day, so you can just come meet me and we'll put it on the field together.
Yeah.
And that's what this is really all about.
It's a great drive. You get to see where Bruce Springsteen lives and Bon Jovi. There's a lot
absolutely.
happening in Monmouth County.
And you should know the 100-yard food drive challenge is actually designed as sort of like the Super Bowl. So it's moving every year to a new location.
Oh.
So the concept is now RFH is focusing on it this year, and then next year when we move to Howell, we'll try to fill the 100-yard football field over there.
What day is this taking place?
This is taking place on Sunday, October 26th. So you can sign up right now at the dermerdreams.org website. Again, pick whatever drop site you'd like, but if you'd like to drop your food at the Rumson Fairhaven football field, please select Central New Jersey, which is your drop site right at the beginning that you'll see. And on Sunday, October 26th, the students will get their bags 2 to 3 weeks before the food drive. And that day, the parent comes down with their child to the drop site. And what's beautiful about it is you really see the parent working with the child. I talk about it with my kids all the time. I'm thrilled that my kids don't have to go through this, but I've made it a point for them to understand that with them over 1 million people and 300,000 children that go to bed hungry every night, it's something that they need to understand in their lives also.
Yeah. Well, you're sparking conversation, imagination, entrepreneurship. You're doing a lot, my friend.
We're trying. We want to turn leaders. These kids. And I should mention we have a leadership program. So the regular program is that students sign up. They do the neighborhood captain program and they earn 10 hours of community service. There is a leadership program that if they bring 10 students onto their team and they manage them as leaders, they receive a certificate for 20 hours of leadership for managing the entire 10 groups or more of students that sign up as part of their team to do this.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll see you this fall.
I appreciate everything so much.
Tiffany Marie DeSousa is the founder of the CLCL Foundation, which is working to provide housing, mental health support, and critical resources for youth in crisis across Ocean and Monmouth counties. Tiffany, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
You have a beautiful story, and I got a shout out at the top, our dear mutual friend, Shane Swarrick, who designs websites for everybody in the state of New Jersey, and he suggested that you come on Your New Jersey because you're just doing such great things down in Ocean County.
Trying, absolutely.
Well, I think you're succeeding. Tell us about CLCL.
So CLCL stands for Choose Love, Celebrate Life, a foundation for youth and families. Quite a mouthful, which is why we go by CLCL Foundation. I'm never allowed to name a business again. But choose love and celebrate life were the life mantras of my teacher. And I'm a former runaway, and so when I ran away and needed help, my public school teacher directed me to local resources. And she received custody 2 days before Christmas, and was my mother and family. She passed in 2020, but everything I do is an extension of her legacy. And so I had to have it in the name. And so our founding mission was really to restore Safe Haven. The previous youth shelter closed in July of 2023. So I was joined by other previous counselors with experience, residential counselors working at the youth shelter. And we joined to create a new nonprofit to restore that access. We became 501c3 within 3 months, registered with the state within 4, submitted our first federal grant within 6, all while I was still in my master's program.
I mean, kudos to you for everything you were able to accomplish. And for the first 17 years of your life, I mean, talk about what your life was like.
I have 10 out of 10 adverse childhood experiences. So there's not a situation I haven't experienced. You know, as a former foster youth and adopted child, there's a lot of mental health issues and struggles. These things produce family crisis, and I needed resources. And because I was self-harming, the first thing I found was outpatient therapy. At the time, there was a street outreach that provided free therapy services for youth without needing parents' permission. And that was the only one I could find without needing parents' permission. And when I went there, they gave me a little card in case of emergency. Here's a 24-hour shelter. And so when I ran away on a cold December night, and my teacher was could have been charged with harboring a runaway, I had no choice but to find a safe place to go. And I was very fortunate that there was one close by. And that's why I know the dangers of not having one close by. It's really important that we acknowledge Atlantic, Ocean, Monmouth County. Your closest places are Trenton, Camden, Bridgewater.
Not close.
Not close. And not only does this sort of exile you from your community because of circumstances that are not your own fault, but it's also dangerous because youth are not going to do it. Most youth, they've created a support system, a neighbor that feeds them, a friend's parent who lets them sleep on a sofa, a coach who's there, or a teacher who helps, guide them. They're not going to want to leave that to go so far away. And so they'll be more at risk on the streets. And as we've seen right now across Ocean and Monmouth County, we've had a huge rise in missing juveniles. We had over 16 in 6 months, and we did not used to have that.
Why do you think that is now?
There's no safe place to go. There's no place for crisis management counseling. There's no place for respite. There's no place for help. Right now, parents are using hospitals for behavioral issues because we're in an adolescent mental health crisis across the nation. Their symptoms are going to continue to get worse until we address them. And we'll see that play out in our communities. There'll be more destruction, there'll be more disobeying and juvenile delinquency acts that nobody wants in their community. But they're really symptoms of an underlying pathology that we're just not dealing with. And so restoring Safe Haven is also about restoring access to those mental health services.
With the CLCL Foundation, what services are you providing?
So currently, I created a bunch of pilot programs, and our first is a warm line. So hotlines you call in and report people. The goal of the warm line is that you can call and refer. And it's important to remember that over 75% of all maltreatment is neglect-based. All allegations, 75% are neglect-based. But 85% of neglect is poverty-based. So the point of the warm line is anybody in Monmouth or Ocean County can call us, and we connect them to the closest donation site for what they need. And so I think it's really important that as a community, we have an opportunity to rally behind these families. So the first phase of the pilot, anybody can call and we connect them. The second phase is a community closet of clothing and items available to anybody free of charge. And the third is a referral delivery service. So now you can call and say, my neighbor's kids, they're this sizes, these are the coats they need, and we drop them off. No shame, no stigma. I think it's really important, especially for family members. Sometimes we know somebody in our family is suffering, but they have a lot of pride. And you can't say things outside of the family without sometimes hurting people's feelings. So having a resource that you can call that's anonymous, that just gives them what they need.
How are you getting donations and support to make all of this happen?
So far, Ocean County College, which is one of the local county colleges, has provided generous donations, both for when we were working towards the shelter and also for our community closet. And we've really been relying on volunteer board members. We're only a year and a half old, and it's just about making it happen regardless.
You're so new, but you're already doing incredible things. Tiffany, what is the ultimate goal, though, of the organization?
So the ultimate goal, in addition to restoring Safe Haven, all of these pilot programs have the ability to become evidence-based approaches. Right now we have free family fun nights. The reasoning behind that is time together as a family. Just like children learn from play, so do families. Taking turns, controlling their frustration, recognizing somebody's joking, communicating when there's a disagreement. All of that is resiliency during times of family stress. But if you have multiple kids, you cannot afford to do anything with them right now. So having just free opportunities to get together, it's a 2-hour event, some type of entertainment, food, a table of donations available, and then we travel to help break that access barrier. And then, of course, youth homelessness is my biggest. And so we have a pilot program for addressing homelessness for 18 to 24-year-olds. So at 18, 19, you can make enough money, but nobody's going to rent to you because you don't have rental experience, landlord, credit history, eviction history. And right now we have kids, who age out of foster care and have vouchers that aren't being accepted because, again, they're too young to have those experiences. And so created a home share program to connect young people to homeowners so that they can rent out space in the home for a year. Do background checks on both sides, make sure there's protections, provide independent living skills for the young people, pair them in a way that's beneficial to both. Do we have an elderly person who can't drive to the supermarket and a young person who needs to know how to budget and shop? Interventions change outcomes. They transform them. I'm proof. And in addition to wanting to just restore Safe Haven, I want to improve it. I think a good youth shelter, our job is to keep them from being there. If you come, why? Let's stop that from ever happening again. My teacher received custody, but I left shortly after turning 18. I didn't want to be a burden, and she took me in because of the emergency. So once the emergency was gone and I was 18, I felt bad. And I never once asked her for money. But I saw friends be able to turn to parents, grandparents, aunts, cousins for $2 to $2,000 that I saw destroy the fates of other kids. So the example I give is if you're on your way to work and your tire pops, and you need to be towed, and you need a new tire, and work is mad because you didn't show, and if you're not there, you're fired, and you're 19 years old, and you live on your own, and the bill's $750, how do you pay it?
You don't.
You lose the car, you lose your job, you get evicted, and you become part of the homeless that's swept under the rug. And so we want to create a savings plan. So anybody who participated the full length of the program with a bare minimum threshold would have lifetime access to a certain amount of savings. So in this scenario where you would normally call family for help, when you don't have one, you could call us. And then we would pay those bills directly. And now you could go to work the next day, and you're not among the homeless. It's all about prevention. Right now, like the age that used to be the hardest was your 12 to 16, 17 in terms of emergency crisis calls. It's now 3 to 8.
3?
Children's behaviors have become, when I say we're in a mental health crisis among our juveniles, there is no joke about that. We are placing them in residential outside of New Jersey because we don't even have any place here for them. Our hospitals are filled with them. Parents become exhausted. Maybe the child's a threat to other kids in the home. They don't want to take them back. They've exhausted everything they have. They're also suffering.
Yeah.
Again, that's why they need whole family support.
Tiffany, this was so unbelievable having you here. Thank you so, so much. Where can people find out more about you and to, more importantly, donate and support?
Absolutely. On our website, CLCLFoundation.org. We are also always open to any in-kind donations for free family fun nights. We're also having our first fundraiser on September 20th at Hope in Her Eyes Equestrian Wellness Farm in Allentown with music and vendors, and so another opportunity for people to come out and support us.
Tiffany, thank you so much for coming on here today. Shane knew we were going to hit it off, and as usual, he was right.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining me on another episode of Your New Jersey. I'm Lisa Marie Falbo. We'll see you back here next week.